Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the shop. Let's get back to work on a Ford Flivver. Just in case I didn't bring you up to date as to what we're doing with the landing gear, the rear gear, we are rebuilding a whole new piece. And that's going to be with a piece of, I think it's 80 thousandths aluminum. Yeah, just because I just didn't like the way the original one came to begin with. And then I just wasn't happy with the way that I tried to redesign it. And I just kept seeing more and more problems with it. So what I did was I had bent, because we all know piano wire, you can move it once really easily. And after that, it doesn't want to move again because it gets so work hardened that it's going to snap. Well, if you come in and just map gas torch, just work that thing till it gets hot. And then go ahead, straighten it out, and then go ahead, heat it up again, and then just let it rest, let it cool down. You can go ahead and it'll relax some of the metals that you just unbent to go ahead and bend again. But you're only going to do it 1 or 2 times. After that, it's going to have failure. And because after it was straightened out and I got the plastic piece off and I put just that little teeny ring on it, slid down, and this is how I'm going to adjust the height. Unfortunately, I bent it the wrong way. So when you bend something the wrong way, you got to heat it up, straighten it out, and try to bend it back. So the re-straightening it out went very nicely. I got it really hot, straightened it out, went ahead, heated it up again, let it cool off, and then as soon as I started bending, I got it just to the very last bit of the bend to get to 90, and it just popped. So that little piece, I don't know how well you can see it, but that little piece, you can see how it just fractured. So it's happened before and it'll happen again. So I went through my little stash and found some other piano wire, same exact diameter. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and just bend a new one. Now the way I'm doing it, I gotta see if I can get this set up with my hands so you can see how I'm doing it. I'm making little markers where the bend needs to be. So this bend over here, when it comes down, it will be at that point. So we're not actually changing the distance that the axle is going to be off the landing gear, because if it was too short, you're putting the wheel back in and it's just not going to look good, because it's going to needs to be in relationship with the rudder. So it just wouldn't look good. So I got to make sure that I get this first bend right. So second bend right. So once this is done, I know where this has to be, so I'll be making marks on that to bend it the other way. And then once we get up here, this top piece is going to bend back that way too. So I'm not all that concerned. I know that before this last bend gets done, I've got to put that little sleeve on, a little collet, just so it can sit down inside there, and that's going to be how I'm going to adjust everything. So the next thing for me to do is go ahead, let's get this set up in my little vise. It's just a little teeny press vise, and you can see I've made holes in it in the past for doing exactly what I'm doing right now. So let me make another bend or two, and I'll bring it back and show you where it's sitting. All right, here's the piece that is bent, and I wish I had something where you can see it even better. Let's try it over here on this side against the garage door. All right, so this side right here is bent, and hopefully you're going to be able to see that I did a pretty good job of bending this so that it's going to match that one right there. So there we are. So where it's a good match. Now I've got to go ahead and I'm going to measure down where this is in relationship to this side over here. I'll make my mark, and then we're going to go ahead and get this piece bent, and it's about, oh my gosh, probably a ½ inch out from inside to inside. So let me get that measured, and let's get it bent. All right, so these two pieces are matching. There we go. They're matching. See? 2 C's. So now I just have to figure out how high this needs to be in relationship to where the bend is going to come back in. And the thing is, I don't know exactly how accurate this was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two pieces, make a very rudimentary measurement on where I think it's going to have to be, and then from that point, cut it. So it's just going to be straight down from the top all the way down. I could go ahead and put the collar on, or the collet on, and then at that point, it's just going to be a matter of getting all the measurements needed to know how deep I'm going to be going in through. Let me get these things out the way. How far this is going to be going in to bottom out, because I can always make this a little deeper if I have to, which I'd like to. So it's okay if I leave this here a little bit long, so once it gets bent in, I can go ahead and, if I care to, go a little deeper into it, which I probably will, and make sure that this bend is in the proper location. Okay, there it is. It is all done, all nicely bent, 90-degree angles. Let's go ahead. I bored this hole out right there at the bottom, just a little bit more. So now I've got the depth that I wanted to have. So it's actually coming to about here on the inside. So now we've got the whole bottom end strengthened up to where I want it. So that's where we're sitting. And I'm going to go ahead, back up a little bit for you, put the wheel on, and you can see the wheel is sitting very nicely in position. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm happy. Now it's time to get some aluminum and let's start cutting. All right, so where we are at right now is this little piece. This is what I call just a homemade mess. We knew that wasn't going to, well, I knew it wasn't going to work as soon as I got done with it, because it just was not, I mean, structurally, once everything's set up, would it work? Yeah, it would work, but I was just really not happy with it. So what I ended up doing was I just decided, instead of going with balsa, just because we're going to be hooking an aluminum plate up to the, if you hear that, that's thunder. We got some storms coming in. I decided, instead of going with some thicker balsa, some heavier balsa, just to go ahead, and I made it out of Sitka spruce. Sitka spruce is a very light but very strong wood. I mean, that's what we actually use for wing spars in this plane. So I'm very confident that it's going to do the job. So what I'm going to do is, this is already set up and prepped for it. I've got a little thing that says B, and that's on the bottom, and then I got T on the top. So this is the part, the top is what's going to get glued down. And that's because the bottom is on the bottom of the plane. So this is going to get glued down. I do have some little markers set up, so I know that it's going to be straight just the way I want it. So this will get epoxied into place. And then once this is epoxied into place, this is when we're going to go ahead, and it's all sanded. That's when I'm going to go ahead and bring this out. I'll hold it on the top, and I just got to figure out how long it's going to be. I'll be holding this on the top just to draw some lines, just so I've got some marks. So when it comes time to cut it out, I could just run it through the bandsaw, and we won't have a problem. So let me go ahead and get you guys off the stand, just so you can take a quick little look before we start gluing it up. All right, I was trying to figure out some way where I can get this thing to just stay up, hovering like this. And the best way to make it hover, I literally took whatever it was, a 12-ounce bottle, filled it full of water, and of course now the plane sits on it and it's rock solid. So sometimes we get lucky. So over here, the bottom side is up, and everything does line up into position. So I do have little markers set up. So that's how that will go, get glued into position. I'll throw some tape down here and up on the sides, just to quickly get everything sanded down, getting rounded off just for the way I want it, before I go ahead and we put that up on the top, and then we draw some lines and get that cut out. What do you say we get started? All right, let's see how well the camera works for us. What I did is I took some wax paper, wadded it up and jammed it up, just to plug this little teeny slot that's going to be open. I don't want it going down in between. So now I'm just going to go ahead, take a little bit, put it on here, not too aggressively. I want it well coated, but I don't want too much just oozing out down the side. Okay, so we'll do the back, and then we're going to come in here and just roll this thing out. So now we've got a little bit right there up against that corner. Now, We're going to do the same exact thing on this. Going to come through. Remember, the top is actually the bottom. So we're just going to put a very little bit on the top, aka the bottom. And then we're going to put some on the leading edge of it as well, just like on the other side, just so we've got good coverage. And on the sides a little bit of ooze out. It's not too bad. We can fix that. Okay, let's just go ahead, slide this into position, get everything lined up. There's that one's lined up, and the back one's lined up, so we are all set. We're just gonna go ahead. That's in position. We're gonna let this set up, and as soon as it's set up, I'll bring you right back. All right, I already started sanding this side a little bit. Now I'm gonna jump onto this side. And it's kind of a weird little balancing act with the plane hanging off the side of the bench. So it's just going to be probably about 10 minutes of me just coming in, getting everything blended just to the way I want it to, which is just get it close without hacking into the surrounding balsa. Okay, not perfect, but close. I'm real close. You can see there's just a little bit there. This is all going to be taken care of very, very lightly. I was using some heavy, I don't know, it was like 30 grit sandpaper or something like that. It was real aggressive. So I'm going to come through and I will work on getting this all nice and tidied up, and then we'll bring it back for a final on what that piece is going to look like. The tail wheel gear is done, and that is my aluminum piece. I'm going to have to put a slight little bend in right up here in the front, but it is complete, so I'm happy, and I've already got the holes drilled in the tail. So I'm going to take you off the stand, show you what I'm doing, and this has to do with the flying wires on the back for the horizontal stabilizer and the rudder, or the vertical stabilizer. And how I'm connecting all 4 points. And I'll show you that as soon as I get you off the stand, get you to the back of the plane. Now, before I go ahead and get anything, let's just say glued into position, I've got to make sure that the tail of the aircraft everything is squared up. That was that whole little squared thing for the video, oh my gosh, I don't know, 2 months ago. So before this gets attached and glued into position, I need to go ahead and get everything squared. And the reason why is because you can see, let's see if I could do this and hold the camera at the same time, a very little bit of deflection, hopefully you can see it, on the vertical stabilizer is quite a bit down here. So that's all going to be squared up before this piece gets glued in. I just want to make sure that everything's sitting properly, so that way once it's all taken apart, painted, taken apart, covered, and then painted, this piece here will actually be glued into position on it, and that's just the way it's going to have to be. So it's going to have to be glued into position so I can wrap everything final. So we'll see. My plan is to glue it in place ahead of time, but I may, because I do this from time to time too, I may not have it glued into place ahead of time. We'll see what happens. So while me babbling on, you may have noticed a little black spot back here. This is going to be relief. This is going to be dropped down and then come across, and what's going to sit in here. So what's going to go in this position is 32 thousandths brass. So I'll be cutting a piece. It's approximately 300 thousandths an inch across, and we're going to probably stick with about the width that we've got right now. So that'll be easy peasy to do it. And then that's going to be a hard point for each side. So it's going to go from here to the horizontal stabilizer on this side, from here to this side, and then from the horizontal stabilizer up to the vertical. So that's how I've done them in the past. That's how we will do this one as well. So you can see how this all needs to be squared off before I go ahead and glue this into position. So let me go ahead, get this thing attached, and show you what it's going to look like. Okay, it is completed. Everything properly lined up and the tires sitting properly in that little cutout. So I'm happy, very happy with the way this one turned out. Okay, another little battle conquered. So that, like I said, I'm happy. That's going to work out very nicely, and I don't have to worry about this little thing right here. So spent a lot more time than expected on it, but it was just slow going work. You couldn't rush through that because there was so much that could go wrong. So I pretty much focused on each little bit at a time, and it came out very nice. So let's just go. Let's call this a video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave comments. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm back in the shop.